Itachi Uchiha spent years as the most hated name in the Leaf Village. A traitor, a murderer, the man who killed his entire clan in one single night. His brother grew up swearing to end him.
I fostered my hatred for you all this time. I've lived my life for one single purpose: to see you die!
The village grew up believing he was a monster. None of it was true. That's what separates his story from most. It's not a redemption arc. He wasn't redeemed. He was revealed. Because while everyone hated him, while Sasuke sharpened that hatred into something lethal, Itachi already knew the ending. He'd planned it himself. He'd chosen every part of it. Most people crack under that kind of pressure. Itachi built his entire life inside it. The easy read on Itachi is noble sacrifice. He killed his family to protect the village. He let his brother hate him. He carried the guilt alone. That reading is true, but it's incomplete, because nobility doesn't explain the texture of what he actually did. It doesn't explain why he kept showing up, why he repeated that forehead poke in the hospital, performing tenderness inside a lie, why he kept playing the villain long after the role had already broken him. It was one person holding a collapsing ceiling with his bare hands, year after year, in complete darkness, never asking to be relieved. That's not just sacrifice. That's a specific kind of suffering, and it has a cost most people don't talk about. Go back to where the silence started. Itachi came home from war as a child. He'd seen things that don't wash off, corpses, the way combat reduces people to something unrecognizable. His father noticed. Fugaku looked at his son the way you look at a tool that's been through something hard, checking for damage, deciding if it's still useful. He didn't ask what Itachi had seen. He asked if he was ready for what came next.
そういうものなの。
それが死の世界だ。この光景を忘れるな。
Itachi said yes, because that's what you do when the people around you need you to be something. You become it. The Uchiha clan was moving toward a coup, and before Itachi was old enough to fully understand what was being asked of him, they handed him the weight of it. Kill your clan, or the village burns.
うちが全滅。里を守るためにはお前を置いて他にない。
He was a teenager. Sasuke was a kid with big dreams and no idea what his brother was about to do. Ask yourself honestly, what would you do? You're 13. The people you love are about to start a war they cannot win. The price to stop it is everything. Do you refuse and watch thousands die? Or do you pick up the weight, knowing it will never leave you? Because you're the one standing there and nobody else will. Itachi didn't hesitate, not in a way anyone saw. He just went quiet. That night, Sasuke woke up to a different world. His parents were gone, his family was gone, and the only person still standing was his brother. Sasuke looked at Itachi and waited for an explanation, for comfort, for anything. Itachi gave him nothing. He looked his little brother in the eyes. The same eyes that used to light up when Sasuke ran to meet him at the door, and told him the massacre was for sport, that Sasuke wasn't even worth killing. Then he left.
そしていつか俺と同じ目を持って俺の前に来い。
Nobody thought to look closer. Nobody asked what it cost him to walk away from that. The years that followed were their own kind of slow erasure. Itachi joined the Akatsuki. He sat across from killers and missing nin and played his role without flinching. He showed up to meetings. He completed missions. He said exactly what needed to be said and nothing more. His partners saw a cold, precise, unreachable person. They respected him. Some feared him. None of them knew him. Kisame, the closest thing Itachi had to a partner, once said there was always something underneath the surface he couldn't reach, that no matter how long they traveled together, Itachi felt like a door that was never quite open. He thought it was calculation. It was grief. Years of it, compounding quietly. with nowhere to go. Itachi was sick. His eyes were failing. He was dying slowly, privately, with nobody watching. He never told Sasuke. He kept his body functional just long enough to finish what he'd started. And then he let it go. That final image, his fingers pressed to Sasuke's forehead one last time before his legs gave out, is one of the most quietly devastating moments in the entire series. Not because it's dramatic. It's the opposite of dramatic. He didn't die giving a speech. He just ran out of time in the middle of a fight he allowed himself to lose. That's what sustained suffering actually looks like. Not heroic, not loud, just one more day, and then one less, and then none. What Itachi teaches isn't that suffering in silence is noble. That's the misread people always land on. The actual lesson is what silence costs, and how easily we confuse endurance with strength. Endurance is just staying. Strength is knowing when to set something down. Itachi never set anything down. He held it until the holding killed him, and the people around him, Sasuke especially, paid a price they never agreed to. Itachi was heroic, and he was wrong. He loved Sasuke completely and still hurt him in ways that took years to surface. The love and the damage weren't separate. They were the same act. Sasuke learned the truth after Itachi was already gone.
To him, your life was even more precious than the village. He made you the hero of the Hidden Leaf Village. Because he had to fight you and die in your presence. He accepted disgrace in the place of honor, and hatred in the place of love.
He couldn't confront him, couldn't ask why, couldn't hear his brother say it directly. He just had to sit with all of it. The years of hatred, the identity he had built around killing someone who was dying the entire time. The realization that the monster he had chased was the only person who had ever loved him that completely. The silence didn't die with Itachi. It transferred. That's what unspoken truths do. They don't disappear when the person holding them is gone. They just become someone else's weight. Maybe you're not carrying something as extreme as a village's survival. Most people aren't, but most people are carrying something. I know I was. There was a period in my life where I had something sitting on my chest that I couldn't put into words. Not a secret, not something dramatic, just weight. The kind that builds quietly until one day you realize you've been holding your breath for months. And I told nobody. Not because I didn't trust anyone, but because I'd convinced myself it was easier this way, cleaner. I didn't want to be the person who needed something. So I kept going, kept showing up, kept saying I was fine when people asked. I got very good at making it look that way. What eventually changed wasn't some big dramatic moment. No breakdown, no crisis. It was one conversation. One person I finally let pass the wall, and I remember sitting there afterwards thinking, why did I wait so long? Why did I spend all that time deciding on everyone else's behalf? That they couldn't handle it. That it was better to carry it alone than to risk being a burden. I never even gave them the choice. That's the question Itachi never got to ask himself. What if he had found one person, just one, and said the truth out loud? Maybe Sasuke grows up knowing his brother. Maybe Itachi doesn't die alone with the secret nobody asked him to carry by himself. Maybe the story ends completely differently. We'll never know. Maybe you have something like that too. Something you've been holding a little too long. Something you decided, without asking, that nobody else could carry. Itachi never found what would have happened if he'd let someone in. You still can.